Hello and welcome to October in a year gardening. End of year, lots of tidying up to do, weeding, clearing away the detritus that is left in the garden. And this is the time where we're really preparing for next year. We're going to get in some summer bulbs, some more daffodils and some tulips, and prepare for what I hope will be an easier year next year. I'm also going to go through some plans with you. Water has been an issue this year, and I've not had enough water in the pond to feed the stream. Calculations are the pond isn't big enough, so I'm going to be removing one of the raised beds and extending the pond and making it 4 times the size it is now. So that's new pond, new liner, and get everything set there so that we can get that filled with water and we can feed the stream properly. So lots in the planning stage, lots to do to make sure the garden is ready for the winter to come. So can I just say welcome to October in a year gardening. Well, despite the little bit of rain, it's definitely tidy up time, and I've got to go through this Montbretia. It really didn't have much of a chance this year. So I'm going to cut this right down, and hopefully next year it will come back and give us those glorious golden blooms of orange and gold that we so love. So I'm just going to take this back right down, and it's going to be quite a long task to do this because there is so much leaf here, but it's a tidy up that is going to be well worth doing. Just take it out handful at a time, and hopefully these bulbs in the ground will be regrowing, getting themselves ready to give us a great display next year. Be quite a bit for going into compost here, but it's going to be well worth it, I'm sure. But this time of the year, it's all about tidying up and preparing for the next season. I was going to actually get the grass cut today, but because of the rain, that's not going to happen for quite a few days. As you can see, this is going to allow me to get to the ground, mulch it again, tidy. It'll be so much better once we've been able to give it a nice tidy through. There's a lot of the garden that needs tidying, but these plants, God bless them, they really haven't had much of a life this year, and I'm really hoping that the plants underneath are still feeling happy and that they're going to come back and give me a lot of lovely colour next year. It's just a case of removing all of this and then taking all the dead out of here. This is just going to come out by hand, a lot of this, and it will enable me to really tidy through the garden. Wow, it's going to take me a couple of hours, I think, just to work my way back through here. They look great when I've done it, and I'll show you that in a couple of minutes. Well, that's the Montbretia nearly cleared. Got a little bit more to clear at the back here, but now I've got a nice open area. And now I can see that this forsythia is really leaning down over the garden. So I'm going to work out how I'm going to support this. Now, do I want to bring it back to the fence, or maybe build something that will let it naturally lean over and give it a bit of support? But at the moment, the way that's leaning, that could break. So I'm going to look at in here a timber support, just to allow it to arch naturally over the plants underneath, while allowing it the support that it's going to need before it breaks. Well, I was just looking through my timber in the garden shed to sort out some support for this forsythia, and I came across this metal stake, which is going to be perfect as a temporary measure until I decide what I'm actually going to do. It also allows me now to get in here so that I can cut down a couple of these shrubs and tidy those as well. But the next job I've got on my list for today, the native geraniums, I'm going to be lifting those, dividing them, because it's a great time of year, the soil is right, and so I'm going to show you that now. Well, these geraniums have grown really, really well this year, and they have taken over basically. So I'm going to lift and divide these, and then I'm going to be using the plants that I make in the shrub border in the front garden. Soil now nice and wet, so it shouldn't be a difficult task to lift these. In fact, that's quite nice. I'll just get lift into there. That's starting to come up nicely. Give that a nice lift there. Should be able to take that straight out. Shake off some of the loose soil. And this plant really, I don't need down here at all. So I'll take this one as it is into the front garden. I'll just lay that one down here for a while. And we'll look at lifting another one. Got to watch those hebes that I planted last year, because they're underneath all of this lot. Now that one there can come out. This looks like quite a big one. Got in there really well. Yeah, quite a lot of root on this one. Getting around the side here. Oh, that's quite a size. No, it's not loose enough yet. Not a bit here. There it comes. I hope. go. Wow, quite a few plants in there, and that root really has gone down considerably. Right, let's have a look at dividing those few. See what we get. Well, looking at the size of these plants and the number that I've got, I've decided I'm going to put some into the bottom border behind the peace garden where we sit, just to give it a nice edge underneath the shrubs there, and then some more into the front garden. And then looking at these, we've got quite a lot of plants we can take out of this, and some of them are just kind of split by hand. You just pull that apart and you've got another nice plant. In fact, there's probably 2 or 3 there, but one will probably be enough there. And I can probably do the same again on here. Just rip that off, pull that apart, and there we go. Nice new plants. And yeah, we can go again with this one here. We split that again, and that's just going to give me 4 to plant in the border down there. And so I've probably got around about 10 or 12 plants here, and I've still got another 4 or 5 that I need to lift and split in the side there. So I'm going to have a lot of plants to put in. Going to look nice. Well, this border has been a little bit scrappy. You may remember I planted this lovely jasmine the other month, and that's growing really, really well. So I'm now going to do a little bit of tidying up here, cut these down for the winter, and then get some underplanting done with those geraniums that I've just been dividing. So that's a nice little job to get on with now. Oh, well, it's incredible how short the days are getting now and how quickly the light fades. But I think I've just got time now to get these few plants in that we've separated up. So the soil down here is quite nice, so shouldn't be much of a problem. Just make a nice little hole. And we'll take off one of these. Pop that down into here. Just bury that into there. Bring the soil round over the top. And then we'll just give it a good working in with the foot. So what I'll do is I'll give this a watering in. And then after a couple of days, I'm just going to take the foliage off so that the roots get a chance to grow. And we'll repeat that with the other ones as well. So that's a good start. So yes, I think they'll look nice in here. Well, as I said at the start, I've got to extend this pond. And I really, really wondered why. I did all my calculations, sorted out the size, for the size of the stream and everything else. I've been back on those calculations, and I now know why. Bit of a mix-up between litres and gallons, and halfway through my calculations changed, so I made this a certain number of litres when it should have been gallons, and there's a big difference, which is why I need at least 3 times the amount of water. So I've got to draw out a design to extend this right underneath where we've got the cameras at the moment, over to where the raised bed is behind, which means we're going to need to put another little bridge in as well. That's going to be fun. So a little bit of design work to get on with there, and then we'll carry on redesigning, redigging this, and I think we can probably get that done over the course of the winter. Well, if this weather stays dry, I should be able to get the lawnmower out here over the next day or so, but we'll have to see. But what I'm doing at the moment, I'm just lifting these geraniums from the borders to bring them inside over the winter, and they'll go into the greenhouse and give you a nice bit of colour in there. So I'm just See if I can separate these pots here, and we'll get a couple of these geraniums nicely inside, and I'll be able to take some cuttings off of these as well during the course of the winter to some nice new plants for next year. So I'll just tidy that up there. So about how deep is that there? So what I'm doing is I'm just potting a little bit of multi-purpose compost into the bottom of the pots. I'm not adding any feed. This is just going to keep them going over the winter. Give them a nice little tidy and a little something to look forward to. Give me a little bit of colour in the greenhouse over the winter. I've got quite a few pots, summer house as well, I've got to take down. Get this all tidied up, and in these little borders here I'm going to be planting some spring bulbs, so a mixture of tulip and daffodils. But we get this really nicely tidied. This weed out of here. Re-edge these when we get the grass cut, tidy it up, and should look quite nice for the spring. So that's another little job crossed off the list. Just a couple more bits to show you. Well, whilst I was out of the front garden, I thought I'd just revisit these shrubs in the shrub border with you. You may remember just over a year ago when I planted these, ceanothus there and the lilac and things, and they were in little pots, 18 inches or so tall, and now they're up around about 5, nearly 6 foot tall. So good progress here, and when the daffodils come through this year underneath, they're going to look absolutely superb again. Now I'm going to take down to the greenhouse and show you what I do to overwinter those geraniums. Welcome back to the greenhouse, and we've not been in here that much this year, but I've cleared out all of the tomatoes and the cucumbers and all of the operation from the summer, and I'm getting ready for late autumn and winter now. And one of the things I like to do with the geraniums that I left is to bring them indoors, set them up on a little staging and have some colour for the long grey and dark nights. And so, as you may remember, I've got electric lighting in here, so I can come down in the evenings after work, sit with a nice cup of tea, listen to classic FM and have lovely colour of plants around me. So what I do on my workstation, I turn it into a display station for the winter. So I've got a couple of pots here, and I place one at each end. Piece of timber just to go over the top to give me some height. Now the geraniums that I've just lifted from the front garden, I haven't done anything with them yet. They've obviously got to be tidied up, but they can then just sit along the front, start to form a nice colourful display for me for the grey days and the grey evenings. And they can sit nicely along the front, and then the ones from the summer house will go behind. So let's put those up there now. These can stand up on the shelf behind, and they'll give me plenty of joy throughout these dark months. A little bit of tidying up going to do on these. So these have been hanging up on the wall. We can pop a couple just down low. Tighten myself up there. Pop a couple in on the front. Give us a bit more colour there. And there's a little fuchsia there. I've got some more fuchsias in the ground which are not hardy, which will have to be lifted and come inside, and that's just another little job to carry on with. As you can see, there's already the makings of a nice little display for the winter. Well, I think that's going to bring us to about the end of today's show, so let's just pop up the top and I'll go over what's going to be happening in the next couple of months or so, and a little bit of a summary of the show. Well, that's it for this little show for you. and I've covered a fair amount today. I've finished my harvesting now, apart from probably around about 1 kilo of runner beans, and they'll be coming off later, and I'll be taking those plants out, and then it's time for soil preparation and getting everything ready for next year. Got some garlic that's going in next week, and unfortunately my bulbs hadn't arrived from the garden centre, so I haven't put those in the front garden yet, but they'll be going in over the next few days as well. Now, I did say I was going to tell you about the next show, and the next show is going to be slightly different. I will cover a couple of things that I'm doing over the next couple of weeks with you, but I'm going to take a little bit of a retrospective, so thank you for the idea, Richard. And we'll be looking at things from 3-4 years ago compared to how they are this year, and there are some quite major differences. I've been going through some of the archive pictures, and the difference is quite remarkable, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you next month. Then in December I will do a retrospective of the year and a little bit of a wind up of what we've been doing, and then again I will take a break for a couple of months. So January and February we won't be putting any shows out, and we'll be back in March of 2023, so that gives you a picture of where we are. One of the things I am working quite intensely on at the moment are the designs for the larger pond. There's going to be a lot of work there, and I've got some help coming, and that's going to be very, very useful. You may remember, I think it was either last year or the year before, when I laid the artificial grass on the front path. That didn't work out, just wasn't very practical, and the underneath of it was not very good. So last week had a friend of mine come round who then has laid a nice new replacement concrete path, and it really is so much safer for my wife when she's going out with her walking equipment, or when we get visitors, maybe like when my dad comes round at Christmas. It's going to be a lot safer and easier to walk on. So well done, Jonesy, really appreciate your help on that one. So today we've covered quite a few different bits and pieces. The tidying on the side of the garden there with the lifting of the native geraniums, and some of those are going to be going out into that front border that I showed you where the shrubs are, and it's going to give it some undercolour and some foliage throughout the course of the year, and the whole thing is just coming together rather nicely. So lots coming up, lots done, and all set for my winter colour in the greenhouse, and I'll get my chair down there now, and so I can use it as a more of a relaxing area for a couple of months until January time, when I'll start sowing seeds again. Which reminds me, I've got to order a couple of seed catalogues, because now's the time we need to be looking through those as well to see what we're going to be growing next year. Very pleased with the way some of the plants have gone, and just to let you know, after that drought where my dahlias were totally brown and I thought we'd lost them, they are in full flower now, and they're looking absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to leave those until possibly the first frosts, and then I'm going to have to lift those and dry them for the winter. So that's where I am now. Things are looking quite nice. Nice to be able to sit outside, but the evenings are getting so much shorter now, and it's just not so much fun, but there's lots still to do. Anyway, I'll leave you now with my little sideline to you. Stay safe, be kind to each other, and happy gardening. And today, as it's the end of summer, we'll leave you with a rather summery drink. End of summer, it's mid-autumn now, I suppose, really, but there we go. Summery drink, a nice Rioja. Cheers. Happy gardening.